Sometimes God doesn't knock loudly. He doesn't send thunder or split the sky open. He simply opens a gate. And waits. He doesn't rush us, doesn't push us forward. He just waits. Until our hearts are quiet enough to notice He's been there all along. We spend our lives asking for forgiveness, hoping that once God forgives us, the weight inside will finally lift. But what if He already forgave us long ago? What if the only one still holding on to the past is us? This is the story of a man who lived his whole life beside a church, yet never once stepped inside. Until one day, the gate opened by itself. On the edge of a small coastal town, where the air smelled of salt, pine, and fresh bread, stood an old white chapel. Its dome shimmered with sunlight, like a piece of heaven resting by the sea. People said sailors built it after surviving a great storm. From that day on, its wooden gates were never locked. A symbol that anyone, anytime, could return to God. Across the narrow street lived Mark, a quiet man with weathered hands, and eyes that carried the calm of the ocean, and the sorrow of years gone by. He mended fishing nets for a living, drank tea by the window, and watched the horizon fade into dusk. But behind that calm, he carried a wound that time never healed. In his youth, he had a best friend, Peter. They built boats together, laughed at the same jokes, and dreamed of catching the big one. Then, one careless argument, one cruel word, and Peter walked away. That same night, a storm came. His boat never returned. From that day on, Mark stopped going to church. He never cursed God. He just couldn't face Him. Why would God let my words become the last thing he heard? He would whisper to himself on sleepless nights. Years passed. The town changed, new houses, new faces. But the little chapel stood the same. Its gates forever open. Like forgiveness itself. Mark grew older. His hands trembled now when he repaired nets. He spoke less, thought more, and often stared at those open gates from afar. One gray autumn afternoon, with rain hanging in the air like breath, he saw a young boy standing before the chapel. The boy was holding a small wooden boat. Hand-carved, rough, but made with care. Mark asked softly, "Why don't you go inside?" The boy looked down. "I made this for God," he said. "But I'm afraid He won't like it." Mark smiled faintly. "Son, God accepts everything made with love. Even if it's small, even if it's imperfect." The boy looked at him curiously. "Do you go to Him often?" Mark hesitated. "No," he said quietly. "Not for a long time. I left, and I'm not sure I deserve to come back." The boy frowned, tilting his head. "But the gates are open," he said simply. "Maybe they've been waiting for you." The words hit Mark harder than he expected. So simple. So pure. He looked up at the chapel. Light poured through the open doorway. Soft, golden, alive. The candles flickered inside. And something in his chest stirred. He took one step. Then another. Each one heavier than the last. As if every regret, every sleepless night, was melting away with the rain. Inside, it was warm and still. The air smelled of wood and wax. Every icon, every shadow, seemed to whisper, "You've come home." Mark fell to his knees. Tears came, not bitter ones, but the kind that heal. And in that deep, living silence, a voice rose within him. Gentle, radiant, wordless. "You were never lost. You just hadn't opened the door." When he stepped outside, the rain had stopped. The world smelled clean again. The chapel shone white against the fading sky. The boy was gone. Only the small wooden boat stood by the gate, damp but steady. Mark picked it up, smiled, and placed it beside a candle inside the chapel. From that day on, he came there every morning. Not to ask for anything, but simply to be. He'd sit by the gate, watch the sun rise over the sea, and whisper, "Thank you for waiting." People began to notice him. The quiet old man who always sat by the open gate. They started coming to him for advice. One would ask about forgiveness. Another about fear. Another about where to find God. Mark would smile and answer the same way. "He's closer than you think. Just walk through the gate." Sometimes the strongest doors aren't made of wood or iron. They're the ones we build inside our hearts. We fear opening them, because the light behind them shows everything. Our pain, our shame, but also our beauty, our faith, our hope. But God never locks his gates. He simply waits. Waits for us to stop running, to stop hiding, and take one quiet step toward home. Because for him, it doesn't matter how long you've been gone, or how far you've wandered. The moment you return, he smiles and says the same words he's been waiting to say all along. "I was never gone. I was waiting for you."